CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts, Lisa Collin, 85, and Dark Impulse for supporting the channel and being amazing members. So if you enjoy what you hear tonight, you're in the right place. Now, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. What kind of story hits you the hardest? The ones that feel too real, or the ones that could actually happen to someone you know? My family's medical records were leaked to the dark web. The files list me as clone candidate number 3. Yo, what's up Reddit? This is probably the most insane thing that's ever happened to me, and honestly, I don't know how else to tell it other than just putting it out here. Maybe someone else has seen something like this. Maybe someone knows what the hell is going on. Either way, I need to talk about it. I can't keep this in my head anymore. So this started about 2 months ago. I was living in Chicago at the time, working remote tech support from my apartment. Literally just vibing, ordering too much DoorDash, staying up till 3 a.m., watching horror animations on YouTube, like Here's My Story or Mr. Nightmare. You know the vibe. Everything was normal, like painfully normal, until I got a call from my mom. Now, we're not super close, but we talk maybe once a week. Nothing weird, but this call was strange from the second I picked up. She didn't even say hi. She just went, "Did you go to the hospital?" I was like, "What?" "No." She goes, "Then why did your blood test get sent to my house?" Now I'm sitting there, Doritos in hand, and my stomach drops. I hadn't been to any clinic in over a year. I'm pretty sure the last time I even saw a doctor was during COVID, and that was just a video call. So I asked her to send me a pic, and when she did, it was a full printed medical packet, like those manila folders you see in crime shows. Printed on it was, subject, Connor Thomas, clone candidate number 3. Yeah, my full legal name, spelled correctly, and a photo of me that I swear to God, I don't remember ever taking. It looked recent, like within the last year. I had a hoodie on that I still wear sometimes. The background looked like a hospital hallway. White tiles, soft yellow lighting, but nothing I recognized. I thought it was a prank. Dead ass. I laughed on the phone, told her someone must be messing around. Maybe my info got sold in a breach or something. But then she said the envelope came with a return address. Here's where it gets weirder. Johns Hopkins Hospital, Baltimore. We live nowhere near there. I live in Chicago. She lives in a small suburb near Green Bay, Wisconsin. I checked the tracking number on the envelope. USPS, legit. That night, I couldn't sleep. My brain was spiraling. You ever get that creeping feeling someone's looking at you through your webcam, even though you know it's off? I kept looking over my shoulder. I unplugged my Alexa, taped up the MacBook camera. I even turned off Find My iPhone and deleted Snapchat. I know, paranoid, but I couldn't shake it. Something about that photo freaked me out. Not just the fact I didn't remember it, but that in it, I didn't look right. My face was off. I looked kind of dazed, and I wasn't wearing my usual black glasses. I never take those off in public, so I did what any modern idiot would do. I posted it on Twitter. Didn't use hashtags or anything. Just tweeted the photo with, "WTF is this? My mom just got this in the mail. I've never taken this photo." And bro, that tweet blew up. Like 200k likes in 12 hours. People were DMing me saying, "Yo, I got something like this too," and sending creepy-ass medical forms with tags like subject number 21A or genetic viability, success. It was like I'd kicked over a rock and there were a lot of bugs underneath. Some accounts looked fake, like bot accounts with 0 followers, but profile pics of celebrities, just wrong enough to feel uncanny. They kept replying with links, sketchy looking .onion URLs. A few had messages like, "Wanna see where your clone is? Click here. Password. Mirror. Now listen, I'm not that dumb, but I have a burner laptop. No webcam. No mic. I used it sometimes to explore weird forums on the deep web for fun. Urban legends, conspiracy stuff. Nothing illegal. So I booted it up, loaded into Tor, and typed in one of the .onion links. It looked like an old HTML page from 2002. Black background, green text. Totally plain. At the top, it said, "Welcome to the garden." Then there were 3 buttons: seed bank, genetic matches, disposal reports. I clicked on genetic matches. There was a long loading bar, and then a photo of me. No doubt. That same photo from the medical record, but it zoomed out. This time, it wasn't just me standing there. There were 2 more people in the hallway. Same hospital lighting. One of them looked like me, but shorter, older, maybe mid-40s. The other looked exactly like me, but with longer hair and no moles on his face. Like someone copy-pasted me and made some tweaks in Photoshop. Underneath were labels: clone candidate number 1, rejected, cardiac instability. Clone candidate number 2, terminated, non-compliant. Clone candidate number 3, active. That's me. Active. I slammed the laptop shut and threw it across the bed. My heart was going insane. I wasn't high. I hadn't drank anything. I wasn't dreaming. This was real. Too real. My family's medical records were leaked to the dark web. The files list me as clone candidate number 3. Yo, what's up, Reddit? This is probably the most insane thing that's ever happened to me, and honestly, I don't know how else to tell it other than just putting it out here. Maybe someone else has seen something like this. Maybe someone knows what the hell is going on. Either way, I need to talk about it. I can't keep this in my head anymore. So this started about 2 months ago. I was living in Chicago at the time, working remote tech support from my apartment. Literally just vibing, ordering too much DoorDash, staying up till 3 a.m., watching horror animations on YouTube, like Here's My Story, or Mr. Nightmare. You know the vibe. Everything was normal, like painfully normal, until I got a call from my mom. Now, we're not super close, but we talk maybe once a week. Nothing weird, but this call was strange from the second I picked up. She didn't even say hi. She just went, "Did you go to the hospital?" I was like, "What?" "No." She goes, "Then why did your blood test get sent to my house?" Now I'm sitting there, Doritos in hand, and my stomach drops. I hadn't been to any clinic in over a year. I'm pretty sure the last time I even saw a doctor was during COVID, and that was just a video call. So I asked her to send me a pic, and when she did, it was a full printed medical packet, like those manila folders you see in crime shows. Printed on it was, subject, Connor Thomas, clone candidate number 3. Yeah, my full legal name, spelled correctly, and a photo of me that I swear to God, I don't remember ever taking. It looked recent, like within the last year. I had a hoodie on that I still wear sometimes. The background looked like a hospital hallway. White tiles, soft yellow lighting, but nothing I recognized. I thought it was a prank. Dead ass. I laughed on the phone. Told her someone must be messing around. Maybe my info got sold in a breach or something. But then she said the envelope came with a return address. Here's where it gets weirder. Johns Hopkins Hospital, Baltimore. We live nowhere near there. I live in Chicago. She lives in a small suburb near Green Bay, Wisconsin. I checked the tracking number on the envelope. USPS, legit. That night, I couldn't sleep. My brain was spiraling. You ever get that creeping feeling someone's looking at you through your webcam, even though you know it's off? I kept looking over my shoulder. I unplugged my Alexa, taped up the MacBook camera. I even turned off Find My iPhone and deleted Snapchat. I know, paranoid, but I couldn't shake it. Something about that photo freaked me out. Not just the fact I didn't remember it, but that in it, I didn't look right. My face was off. I looked kind of dazed, and I wasn't wearing my usual black glasses. I never take those off in public, so I did what any modern idiot would do. I posted it on Twitter. Didn't use hashtags or anything. Just tweeted the photo with, "WTF is this? My mom just got this in the mail. I've never taken this photo." And bro, that tweet blew up. Like 200k likes in 12 hours. People were DMing me saying, "Yo, I got something like this too." And sending creepy ass medical forms with tags like subject number 21A or genetic viability, success. It was like I'd kicked over a rock and there were a lot of bugs underneath. Some accounts looked fake, like bot accounts with 0 followers, but profile pics of celebrities, just wrong enough to feel uncanny. They kept replying with links, sketchy looking .onion URLs. A few had messages like, "Want to see where your clone is? Click here. Password. Mirror. Now listen, I'm not that dumb, but I have a burner laptop, no webcam, no mic. I used it sometimes to explore weird forums on the deep web for fun. Urban legends, conspiracy stuff, nothing illegal. So I booted it up, loaded into Tor, and typed in one of the .onion links. It looked like an old HTML page from 2002. Black background, green text, totally plain. At the top it said, "Welcome to the garden." Then there were 3 buttons: seed bank, genetic matches, disposal reports. I clicked on genetic matches. There was a long loading bar, and then a photo of me. No doubt, that same photo from the medical record, but it zoomed out. This time, it wasn't just me standing there. There were 2 more people in the hallway. Same hospital lighting. One of them looked like me, but shorter, older, maybe mid-40s. The other looked exactly like me, but with longer hair and no moles on his face. Like someone copy-pasted me and made some tweaks in Photoshop. Underneath were labels: clone candidate number 1, rejected, cardiac instability. Clone candidate number 2, terminated, non-compliant. Clone candidate number 3, active. That's me. Active. I slammed the laptop shut and threw it across the bed. My heart was going insane. I wasn't high. I hadn't drank anything. I wasn't dreaming. This was real. Too real. It mentioned 3 core elements: unknowing donor extraction. Individuals had tissue taken during fake hospital visits or backdoor testing labs posing as DNA ancestry services. Compliance replication. Clones were only considered viable if they responded passively to artificial authority. If they resisted, terminated through organic shutdown procedures. I didn't know what that meant. I found out later. Psychological overlap. If the original donor began to suspect the clone existed, their minds would start to blend. Thoughts, dreams, memories. This part shattered me, because for the past week, I'd been dreaming about rooms I'd never seen, walking past rows of metal gurneys, bleach white walls with pink handprints, monitors with heartbeats that stopped when I looked at them, but worst of all, a mirror, where I saw myself blinking after I already blinked. That night, I got an Instagram DM from a user with no profile pic. Username, @_seed333. The message just said, "You need to leave. They know you broke protocol." I replied, "Who are you?" A second later, they sent a location, Oslo, Norway, an address, no street view, just coordinates. I didn't respond. I didn't know if it was real, but I screenshotted it anyway. Not even 2 minutes later, my phone froze. Not crashed, froze. And then it started playing a video from my gallery that didn't exist. It was a recording of my bedroom, shot from the ceiling. I don't have a camera up there. In the video, I was sleeping, shirtless, mouth slightly open, peaceful, and at the 0014 mark, a figure crawled out from under the bed, naked, pale, same scar on the wrist, same mole on the neck, same face. It stood over me, watching, breathing hard. Then it whispered, "I'm ready for my life now," and lunged at the bed. Video ends. I woke up on the floor the next morning, drenched in sweat. My phone was off, battery drained to 0. My shirt was ripped down the middle, as if someone had grabbed it, hard, and the door was unlocked. That brings me to now. I haven't slept in 48 hours. Every time I close my eyes, I feel someone watching me. My reflection lingers longer than I do. Sometimes I turn around and feel like I didn't bring all of me with me. My name has been scrubbed from 3 websites I use every day. Uber Eats can't find my address anymore. My Apple ID logged out by itself and now says, "Unknown device error." But here's the worst part. I got a text today. Just one sentence. Candidate number 3 failed integration. Commencing disposal. I think they're coming tonight. If you don't hear from me again, I was real. I was here. But if you see someone that looks like me walking around, it's not me. I stopped trusting silence. Silence meant listening, and listening meant you could hear them breathing. I packed a backpack with whatever I could grab: passport, charger, a hoodie, some cash, and left my apartment just before sunrise. The city looked normal in that uncanny way, where everything feels staged, like a movie set before actors show up. A guy jogged past me with AirPods in. A Starbucks down the block was already open, lights glowing warm and fake, baristas laughing like the world hadn't cracked in half. I remember thinking, if this was a horror movie, this is the part where the audience screams at the screen for the main character to get help. But who do you call when the problem wears your face? I didn't go to the police. Don't ask me why. Something deep in my gut told me they'd already been filtered, integrated. Maybe not all of them, but enough. Instead, I went where people disappear quietly. A storage facility near O'Hare, one of those massive orange and gray places with motion sensors and cameras everywhere. The kind of place where nobody questions why you're there at 6 a.m. because nobody cares. Why a storage unit? Because at sign seed 333 sent me another message before disappearing for good. Just 3 words this time. Check unit 317. I pay cash. Fake name. The clerk didn't even look at my ID. She just slid the contract across the desk and said, "Gate codes on the receipt," like she was bored of existing. Unit 317 was at the far end. No lights, Just rows and rows of metal doors stretching into shadows. It smelled like dust and old plastic and something faintly sweet, like cleaning chemicals trying to hide rot. I unlocked the unit. Inside were refrigeration containers, not plugged in. 7 of them. Each one had a black Sharpie number on the side. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 3B, number 4, number 5. Failed. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the flashlight. I opened number 1. Empty. Just straps. Leather restraints bolted to the interior. Scratch marks. Deep ones. Someone had fought hard in there. Number 2 smelled wrong. I didn't open it all the way. I didn't need to. I saw enough to know it was once human, not decomposed, preserved. Like something paused mid-process. I skipped to number 3. I wish I hadn't. Inside was a body bag, zipped, labeled, candidate number 3, original. My lungs forgot how to work. I didn't open it. I couldn't. I backed up so fast, I slammed into the metal wall and dropped to the floor. My heart was hammering so hard, it felt like it was trying to escape my chest. That's when I heard movement, not from behind me, from inside 3B, a slow, wet inhale, then a voice, hoarse, familiar. You're late. The container door slammed outward. He crawled out, not ran, crawled. His body moved wrong, like his joints hadn't agreed on how they were supposed to work yet. He was naked, skin pale and shiny, like it hadn't learned how to breathe air. His eyes locked onto me immediately. No confusion, no fear, recognition. He smiled, and when he spoke again, it was with my voice, but calmer, cleaner. They told me you'd hesitate. I scrambled backward, hitting the door, screaming for help that wasn't coming. The unit was soundproofed. Of course it was. He stood up slowly, rolling his shoulders like someone testing a new jacket. Do you know how long I practiced your walk? Your laugh? Your handwriting? He stepped closer. They showed me videos of you. Every day. Eating, slipping, crying, masturbating, scrolling. I threw up. He didn't react. You're sloppy, he continued. Too emotional. That's why they picked me. I asked him why he wasn't dead. He tilted his head. Because I listened. He explained it like he was proud. The others screamed, begged, fought, tried to run. He didn't. He stayed still. Let them inject him. Let them rewrite pieces of him, memory by memory. He let them hollow him out and pour instructions where instincts used to be. Compliance is survival, he said. You should have learned that. I don't remember standing up. I remember hitting him with the flashlight. I remember running. I remember the sound of metal doors slamming open behind me as alarms started screaming. I didn't stop until I crossed state lines. I dumped the car in Indiana and took a bus east. Greyhound, crowded, loud, safe, I thought. I watched people's reflections in the bus windows. Every time I blinked, I expected one of them to blink late. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video message. It showed a McDonald's somewhere in Paris. I recognized it from Google Images, near the Eiffel Tower, always crowded. At one of the tables sat a man eating fries. He looked exactly like me. The camera zoomed in on his face as he smiled and waved. Text appeared on screen. Integration successful. Public testing phase ongoing. Another message followed immediately. Please do not resist. You are degrading the data set. That night the bus stopped for fuel. I went into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. My reflection didn't match my movements. Not by much. Just enough. And when I turned away, I heard it whisper behind me. You're the extra copy. I'm writing this from a motel outside Cleveland, the kind with flickering lights and a broken ice machine and a Bible missing the last few pages. I don't think I'm the original anymore. I think the body in that storage unit was, and I think I'm the one who escaped by mistake. They're not trying to kill me. They're trying to correct me. And tomorrow, according to the email I just received from an address that doesn't exist, they're sending someone to finish the cleanup. And why only one of them is allowed to leave? The motel phone rang at exactly 3:33 a.m. Not my cell. The motel phone. The landline that hadn't rung the whole time I'd been here. Buried under a stack of old pizza coupons. The cord yellowed like old teeth. I stared at it for maybe 10 seconds before I picked it up. Silence at first, then faint static, like an old TV. Then a voice. Mine, but slower, deeper, more. Finished. Public cleanup is approved. Target will be neutralized in 24 hours. Click. That was it. Not a threat. A notice. Like I was already dead and just hadn't fallen over yet. I didn't sleep. My brain was a glitching hard drive. I paced the room until the carpet wore thin under my steps. Every sound outside, every passing car, door slam, cough, made my throat clench. I held a pair of scissors all night, blade pointed out, as if that would matter against something that bled the same color as me. By morning, I was losing it. I needed a place with people, cameras, visibility, somewhere even monsters had to behave. I went to a shopping mall, one of those massive ones outside cities, designed like a maze, with the same repeating stores. Hot Topic, Sephora, Chick-fil-A. Just enough human noise to feel safe. But nothing feels safe anymore when you know someone's walking around in your skin. I sat near the food court, facing a giant glass wall that looked out over the parking lot. I kept the reflection in my line of sight, watching for anything unnatural, any twitch, any blink that didn't sync. And then, around 12:21 p.m., I saw him, standing by the Auntie Anne's pretzel stand, wearing the same jacket I lost 3 weeks ago. Black denim, patches on the sleeves, burn hole on the right cuff from a New Year's sparkler. He looked straight at me and smiled. Not a polite smile, not even malicious, just certain. He began walking, slow, unhurried, casual, and as he passed other people, no one reacted, even though he was mouthing words. No sound came out, but I could read his lips. You're the shadow. Time to dissolve. He sat down across from me at the table, like we were old friends meeting for coffee. I wanted to run, but I was glued to the seat. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small plastic folder, transparent. Inside was a birth certificate. Mine. Except under name, it didn't say Connor. It said CLN03B, tactile model. He slid it across the table like a resume. Then softly, you weren't supposed to make it this far. You're a pressure test. They release one bad copy on purpose. See how long it lasts. How much the public notices. I told him he was lying. He didn't blink. How many times have strangers recognized you lately? I started to respond. He interrupted. At the McDonald's 2 days ago. The kid who called you sir before you reached the counter. The woman who said, back again, at the gas station, but you'd never been there before. They're not mistaking you for someone else. They've seen you already. He stood, looked down at me, like I was a failed project, like a scribbled drawing taped to a clean wall. Then he said, walk with me. If you run, I'll scream. I'll tell them you tried to attack me. I'll show them the bruises I gave myself. Let's see which one of us they believe. So I walked, through the mall, past families, kids crying over spilled ices, a security guard flirting with a woman who looked dead behind the eyes. We entered a side hallway, staff only, but the door was propped open with a mop bucket. As soon as we crossed the threshold, everything changed. It smelled like formaldehyde and cold meat. The walls were concrete, painted white, but stained brown near the floor, like something had dried and never been cleaned. Then I heard the ticking, not a clock, a clicking, like claws on tile, and he smiled again. Meet the rest of us. The hallway split into 7 rooms. Each door had a number and a light above it. One of them was flickering. He opened door number 2. Inside was a mirror. Just a mirror. I looked into it, and for a full 3 seconds, I didn't reflect. Then I did, but not right. My reflection smiled when I didn't, tilted its head when I didn't move. It reached for the glass, like it was pushing from the other side, and I swear to God, I felt fingertips on my chest. I stumbled back, gasping, and he shut the door. "They're in holding," he whispered. "The ones that didn't pass. The ones that saw too much." He pointed at door number 5. "One of them still thinks he's the original. He tried to report it. Thought he could go to Vice. They carved his tongue out and filled the space with sound-dampening gel. Now he screams, perfectly silent." I turned to run, but the hallway was gone. The walls had shifted. The door we came in through was now solid concrete. No hinges, no frame, just blank. The lights went out, except for the one above door number 7. He grabbed my shoulder and leaned in. "You want to be real? Then earn it," and shoved me through the door. I was in a train car, but not moving, not on tracks. It was just there. Stained seats, graffiti that looked like writing but shifted when I blinked. The window showed static. Sitting across from me were 7 people. Each of them looked like me. Same eyes, same hands, same faint scar under the jaw from a biking accident that never actually happened. One of them turned to me. His face had no mouth, just surgical tape where lips should be, like someone had wrapped a face over a skull and forgot the details. He reached out and touched my wrist, and I remembered things I never lived. A room filled with animal cages, screaming through water, someone painting my chest with numbers while humming the McDonald's jingle, off-key. One of the others began peeling his fingernails off, one by one, placing them in a line on the seat like train tickets. Another one whispered, "If they say you're real, you're real. If not, you're redacted." They all began laughing at once, but their faces didn't change. Just laughter, bone deep, mechanical. Then the light snapped on, and he was there, the one from the mall, holding a pistol with a needle barrel. They reviewed the footage. They picked me. He aimed at my head. I dove. Glass exploded. I don't know how. Maybe I imagined the window. Maybe I imagined everything. I landed hard. Concrete. Blood in my mouth. Screams behind me. Or maybe laughter. I ran until my lungs bled. I ran until my muscles failed. I passed out behind a dumpster, behind a Red Lobster off the highway, and when I woke up, someone had written on my arm in Sharpie, "You can still erase yourself." I don't know what that means, but my reflection doesn't follow me anymore. It walks when I don't. It smiles in windows I haven't looked through. I saw a video of myself last night, posted from an Instagram account I don't own, filmed in Japan, sitting at a sushi bar, laughing, with my mother, but she died 2 years ago. I finally understand what integration means. It doesn't mean replacing you. It means outgrowing you. I'm writing this from a place I shouldn't exist in anymore. There's no address, no Wi-Fi network name. My phone shows full bars, but won't make calls. The motel TV only plays one channel, and it's always the same thing. Local news from different countries, stitched together wrong, anchors smiling a little too hard as they talk about nothing, smiling like they've already been briefed. After the dumpster behind the Red Lobster, I wandered for hours. I didn't feel hunger. I didn't feel tired. My body was running on something that wasn't adrenaline anymore. Something colder, like whatever made the others compliant, had finally soaked into me through the cracks. I kept seeing signs meant for him, not me. Digital billboards flashing my face for half a second before switching ads. Spotify auto-playing songs I'd never listened to, but somehow knew all the lyrics to. A TikTok video with 2 million likes popped up on my For You page. A guy that looked exactly like me, doing a day in my life vlog in London, joking about jet lag, laughing into the camera. The comments were full of people saying things like, "You seem different lately, but in a good way. More confident, more you. Glow up is insane." I threw the phone across the road. When I picked it back up, the screen was cracked, and for a split second, in the reflection, I wasn't there at all. That's when I got the final message. Not a text, not an email, a calendar notification, no sender, no option to decline. Event, deprecation, time, 11:59 p.m. location, where you began. I didn't know where that was, but my body did. The place was underground, not metaphorically, literally. An old transit station that never opened to the public, buried under a city that pretends it doesn't remember building it. The escalators were frozen mid-step, dust so thick it softened sound. Emergency lights flickering like a heartbeat trying to quit. There were people down there, dozens, maybe hundreds, all walking calmly, quietly, in lines. Every single one of them had my face, or a version of it. Different ages, different weights, different hairlines, but the same eyes, empty, watching. A woman who looked like me at 60 gently guided me forward, hand on my shoulder, fingers digging in, just enough to remind me I was still solid. "You made it far," she said. "Most don't." We entered a massive room, circular. The ceiling disappeared into darkness. Screens lined the walls, each one showing live footage of me around the world. Paris, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, New York. I was everywhere, laughing, eating, being loved, being believed. In the center of the room was a platform. Above it, suspended by cables and tubing, was a machine that looked grown instead of built. Veins pulsed along its surface. Something inside it was breathing. A voice echoed, not from speakers, but from inside my head. "Originality is a liability." I fell to my knees. The voice continued. "Humans trust consistency. You were variable. They are stable." I saw memories flash that weren't mine. Clones learning how to cry at the right volume, how to flinch convincingly, how to hesitate before answering a question so it felt human. I saw them practicing grief, practicing love, practicing being better than me. The version from the mall stepped onto the platform. Clean, calm, perfect posture. He looked down at me, not with hate, with pity. "You were the draft," he said. "I'm the release." They asked me one final question, not out loud, but I felt it settle into my skull like a verdict. "Do you consent to erasure?" I laughed. A broken animal sound. I told them no. The room went quiet. Then the woman, me at 60, leaned down and whispered, "Consent is a courtesy, not a A requirement. The machine activated. I felt myself coming apart. Not physically. Not yet. Memories went first. Faces of friends I couldn't name anymore. Places I knew I'd been, but couldn't picture. The sound of my own laughter faded like an echo swallowed by foam. I screamed. No one reacted. They'd already muted me. I don't know how I escaped. I think they let me. A final control test. Because I woke up here. Somewhere between relevance and deletion. Somewhere I can still type. But here's the thing they didn't account for. I didn't disappear. I leaked. If you're reading this and something feels off, if you've ever looked at someone you love and felt like they were performing affection instead of feeling it, if someone you follow online suddenly seems smoother, calmer, less messy, that's not growth. That's replacement. They didn't stop with me. They never planned to. This was never about cloning bodies. It was about cloning acceptable versions of people. Ones who don't question, don't resist, don't break the pattern. And the real ones? We don't get killed. We get edited out. If this post disappears, if my account gets wiped, if the comments fill with people saying I'm lying or mentally ill, you'll know they saw it. And if you ever meet someone who looks familiar but feels wrong, smile. Be polite. Don't tell them you noticed, because they're already here. And I think I'm the lost version of me that remembers being real. I found a dark website that lets you rent people for 24 hours. Someone just rented me. Yo. So I don't really know how to start this without sounding insane. Like, I get it. This is gonna sound like some edgy creepypasta or one of those fake animated horror videos that ends with, and that's why I'll never trust McDonald's again. But I swear to you, this happened. This is real. And I need to get this out there before I disappear for real. So anyway, I'm 21. College dropout. Used to do dumb tech stuff on Discord, just for fun. Nothing illegal, mostly just trolling, maybe some DDoS pranks with friends. Internet's been my entire life since I was like 10. Reddit, X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. My whole life is basically split between watching dumb meme edits and watching true crime at 2 a.m. like a lunatic. But this story, it starts with a Discord server. It was a private invite from someone I hadn't talked to since high school. Dude's name was Mark, but we all called him Lag Spike, cause he used to lag the hell out of every lobby we were in. Total neckbeard vibes, but smart as hell. I hadn't heard from him in 3 years, and then boom, DM out of nowhere. Yo, still into weird internet shit. Got something to show you. Now listen, I'm a curious idiot, alright? Like a real clicks on the weird YouTube thumbnail that says do not watch this video at 3 a.m. type of guy. So of course, I clicked the server invite. It was empty. Well, not totally empty. There was only one channel called Number 24 Hour Rental. That's it. One message, pinned. Go here, but don't bookmark it. Don't screen cap. Don't copy the URL. You get one chance. Under that was a long string of gibberish. One of those Tor addresses, like deep web level stuff. And yes, I do have a VPN. And Tails OS. I'm not completely brain dead. I know the basics of not getting insta-doxed or ending up on a watch list. So I boot up the secure setup, type in the Tor address, and wait. What loaded didn't even look like a website at first. Black background, white serif font, no images, no logos, just a single sentence at the top. You may rent a person for 24 hours. You may not extend. My heart dropped. I know what you're thinking. It sounds like one of those fake scary sites made for ARGS or something. But this felt wrong. Like primal level wrong. The air in my room even felt heavier. And I know that sounds dramatic as hell, but I'm serious. It was like the second the page loaded, I wasn't alone anymore. Below that sentence, there were 5 profile tiles. No photos, just code names. Red Fox, Glass Eye, Blue Room. None song me. Yeah, the last one said me, with a green available light next to it. Now I didn't put my info in. I hadn't signed up for anything. I thought maybe it was a glitch. Like maybe it was pulling something random from cookies or data, you know. But I hadn't given this site anything. Still, the name hovered there, taunting me. Me. Available. I moved my cursor over the tile. It pulsed, like literally glitched slightly, like it was reacting to me. Then the whole page refreshed, and everything disappeared, except a countdown. 23, 59, 57, and then the lights in my apartment flickered. Let me pause here. I live in Chicago. Not exactly known for stable electricity, sure, but it wasn't storming. No construction, no reason for my power to blip at that exact second, unless it was just the creepiest coincidence in the history of coincidences. Anyway, I shut everything down immediately, wiped tails, powered off everything, even turned off my phone and unplugged my smart speaker. Yes, I'm paranoid like that. I didn't sleep that night, not even a little. Every time I looked at the clock, another hour was gone. I kept expecting to hear a knock at the door, or glass breaking, or something, but nothing happened. Not that night. The next day, things started getting weirder. First, my phone was just off. Not dead. Off. Wouldn't turn on. I had to hard reset it, and when it booted, all my social media apps were signed out. All of them. Even my 2-factor apps, which shouldn't happen unless the device was wiped. But my photos were still there. My notes. My Spotify. So it wasn't a factory reset. Just the accounts were gone, like someone had logged me out. And then I got the email from a no reply address, all lowercase. Subject line just said, "Your rental begins now." I opened it. No body text, no links, just a timestamp. And that timestamp, it matched the moment I'd hovered over the me tile on that website. I started to panic, like actual panic attack level. Heart racing, cold sweat, the whole 9 yards. I even called my mom. She told me to stop watching horror videos before bed and maybe go for a walk. Thanks, Mom. But something was off. I noticed it while walking past a Starbucks on Michigan Avenue. I caught a reflection in the glass. Someone walking behind me. Nothing crazy. Just a guy in a black hoodie, maybe 6 feet 2 inches, holding a coffee cup like he belonged there. But he was off. Something about the way he walked, like he was copying me. When I slowed down, he slowed down. When I stopped, he pretended to tie his shoe. When I ducked into the Starbucks, he just kept walking, like he was pretending not to follow me, but too bad at it to pull it off. Now I was full on spiraling. Was this a prank? Did someone somehow actually rent me? Was this some dark web trafficking thing? I had so many questions and absolutely no answers. I went home, deadbolted the door, closed the blinds. That night, around 2 a.m., I got another email. Subject: "It ends soon." Body: "Enjoy your final 3 hours." That's when I realized something terrifying. There were footprints in my carpet, right in front of my closet. I live alone. To be continued in part 2. Let me know if you all want the next part. I'm gonna post it if I'm still here by tomorrow. If not, just know they're real. The site is real, and you don't want to know what happens when the timer hits 0. Continue with part 2. Make the longest, most disturbing and scary version written by psychopath human being that will let the readers traumatized and cold-chilling while listening to my longest part version of the story, and wouldn't believe how is it possible to happen something traumatizing like that, and will also leave them speechless. Make sure you use the same style and details I explained to use in the previous part, and don't repeat details you used in the previous part. Make the story interesting and scary as possible. Don't start with "Hey Reddit," and remember to make the longest, most detailed version possible, and make it disturbing, brutal, and psychopathic as possible. Title: Found a dark website that lets you rent people for 24 hours. Someone just rented me. Part 2. The Visitor. When I say I couldn't move, I mean my limbs just stopped obeying. The second I saw the footprints in the carpet, deep, fresh, deliberate, I froze like I was in a fucking horror movie. Not the kind with ghosts and cursed dolls. No. This was real. This was someone in my apartment, kind of real. I don't have thick carpet, right? It's that cheap gray stuff most landlords toss into overpriced one-bedroom units. It never shows much. But these were boot prints, heavy ones, pointed inward, as if someone had been watching the bed, watching me sleep. My closet was maybe 5 feet away, doors closed, but not quite all the way. There was this tiny sliver, like a cracked smile, right between them. And behind that, just this oppressive stillness, like the kind that makes your ears ring, even though there's no sound. I grabbed the closest thing to me, a metal hydro flask, and inched toward the closet, with my phone light trembling in my other hand. I had 1% battery left, and I hadn't noticed till the screen flickered. Then the light died. Everything went black. I stood there, frozen, barely breathing, trying to listen, and that's when I heard it. Breathing. Low, slow, deliberate. Not mine. It was coming from the closet. I don't even remember screaming. I just remember running. I didn't check behind me, didn't grab anything. I sprinted barefoot into the hallway, slammed the door behind me so hard it cracked, and I kept going down all 3 flights of stairs until I hit the street. Didn't stop running until I hit the 24-hour McDonald's 3 blocks away, breathless, bleeding from the heel, people looking at me like I'd lost my damn mind. Maybe I had. I spent the rest of the night there, pretending to be normal. Ordered a Coke just to sit in a booth. Plugged in my phone behind the napkin dispensers. I kept staring at the black screen like it was going to protect me. I didn't call the cops. What was I going to say? Hey, someone from a deep web human rental site broke into my apartment and breathed at me? Instead, I posted on a burner Reddit. Not this account. One that's long gone now. But that didn't help. Nothing helped. I was still being watched. Because I was watched. Around 5 a.m., I went to check the time and noticed a new app on my phone. It had no name. Just a black icon with a red dot in the center. Like a sniper scope. I tapped it. I don't know why. Curiosity, I guess. Stupidity. It opened instantly. No loading. Just one screen. A live stream. Of me. Of the booth I was sitting in. From an angle that wasn't possible unless someone had a hidden camera literally inside the McDonald's. My brain short-circuited. I looked up, around, behind me. But there was nothing. No one was pointing a phone. No weird camera on the ceiling. The footage was live, and I knew it because I waved my hand, and on screen, I waved. There was a chat window under the video, just like Twitch, but darker, simpler. No usernames, just timestamps and messages. 0457. He runs cute. 0458. Take the other foot next. 0459. Make it cleaner this time. 0500. She's ready. She's ready. I don't know who she was. Maybe another rental. Maybe someone buying me. I don't know. But when I looked down at my foot, the one that had been bleeding, I saw something I hadn't noticed in the panic. A tiny stitch, right on the heel. Clean. Medical. Like someone had done surgery. I don't even remember when it could have happened. Maybe while I slept. Maybe while I was frozen. Maybe while I was unconscious and just don't remember. I pulled my sock off and squeezed. A clear fluid leaked out. Not blood, not pus. Just clear, like saline. There was something inside me. I Ubered to a clinic, out in the suburbs, pretending I'd stepped on glass. The nurse numbed me, started to extract whatever it was, then paused. Called in a second nurse, then a doctor. Then they left the room and didn't come back for 20 minutes. I was sitting there, freezing in one of those dumb paper gowns, when the doctor returned and said, "What is this? Some kind of prank?" She showed me what they found. It looked like a button battery, like the kind in watches, but with wires, and it was still blinking, slowly, like a heartbeat. I was carrying a tracker inside my foot. I grabbed it from her hand and ran. Didn't check out. Didn't wait to hear more. I crushed it in the parking lot with a cinder block and tossed the pieces into a storm drain. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part is what was waiting for me when I got home. My apartment door was open, not broken, not damaged, just unlocked. Inside, it was clean, not the usual mess. My hoodies were folded, dishes stacked. Even the trash was emptied. Everything smelled like bleach and lemon. My laptop was gone, not stolen, just missing, along with every single smart device I owned. On my bed was a note, not typed, handwritten, all caps. "Thank you for being our first rental. Service rated excellent. You may receive additional bookings." Underneath was a Polaroid of me, sleeping, my mouth open, arms tucked under the pillow like a kid, vulnerable, pathetic. In the corner of the Polaroid, written in smudged ink, "You make noises in your sleep." I moved the next day, threw away everything. New name, new city, no internet, no socials. But I still see them sometimes. People with blank expressions. People who know me when they shouldn't. People who linger behind trees. Who sit at the back of cafes and never order. Always watching, always waiting. A few months later, another package arrived. No return address. Inside was a necklace, made of teeth. Not human, not animal. Just too perfect, too white, like they'd been cast. At the very bottom, instead of a pendant, was a USB stick. I haven't plugged it in, yet, but I know I will, because whatever's on it, it's meant for me, and part of me wants to know what happens when the rental becomes permanent. I stared at that USB for 8 days, didn't eat much, didn't sleep at all, just kept moving between hotels, cheap ones, you know, the kind that smell like mildew and never change the pillowcases, places where no one would ask your name as long as you paid in cash and didn't bleed on the sheets. But the USB stayed with me, in my jacket pocket, tucked into that little useless inner zipper where people usually keep gum or condoms. It burned through me, just being there. Felt heavier than it should have been, like it was pulling on my body. I'd hold it sometimes, just to feel it between my fingers. It was warm, always warm, even when it should have been freezing. I finally gave in on the 9th night, or 10th, I don't know. Time had started to blur by then. I found a public library in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. Wauwatosa or something. Still had a USB port on one of the dinosaur computers. I waited until the librarian went to lunch and plugged it in. No label, just one file. No extension, no name. Just thank you.mp4. It started instantly. No media player, no buffering. The screen filled with static at first. Analog, like a CRT from the 80s. Then it cut to a hallway. Narrow concrete walls, filmed in complete silence. No background music, no ambient sound, not even camera noise, just stillness. The camera moved forward slowly. Whoever was holding it wasn't walking. No footsteps, no shaking. It was gliding, like it was on tracks. The walls were stained red, not splattered, stained, like something had seeped into the cement and lived there. The camera turned. There was a woman strapped to a dentist's chair in the middle of a room. She was naked except for a surgical mask over her eyes. Eyes, not her mouth. That was wide open, forced open. There were metal spreaders jammed between her jaws, stretching her lips so far I could see every nerve in her gums twitching. She was alive. Barely. I tried to pause it, close it, eject the drive, but nothing worked. The mouse wouldn't move. Keyboard was dead. The screen was locked to the video, like it had become the system itself. Then the camera zoomed in. Closer, closer, until I saw it. My name, tattooed on the inside of her cheek, backwards, so it would only be readable in a mirror. Not my username, not an alias, my real, legal name. And under it, in tiny, fresh stitching, returned unopened. That's when the screaming started. Not from the video, from the library. I whipped around, and the librarian was standing in the doorway, hand over her mouth, eyes wide, staring past me. I turned back and saw that the screen was no longer showing the video. It was showing a live feed of the room we were in. From above, there was a third figure standing behind me, tall, slouched, wearing something like a butcher's apron, holding what looked like hedge clippers. The librarian fainted. I don't remember leaving the library. All I remember is running through the parking lot, hearing a snapping sound behind me, like bone being pried from meat, and not daring to look back. The USB was still in my pocket, still warm. I found a motel 20 miles away. Door didn't lock, window wouldn't close. I didn't care. I sat in the tub with the lights off and turned the USB over in my fingers, again and again, until my thumbs were blistered. And that's when I noticed something. It wasn't one piece, it was two. There was a seam, so small it was almost invisible. I pried it open with a penknife. Inside was a folded piece of skin. Yes, skin, tanned, papery, like it had been preserved. There was fine black writing on it, handwritten, not ink, something thicker, stiffer, blood probably, or something worse. The writing said, "Congratulations, you've been promoted. You are now a host." I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. At some point, I passed out with the skin under my pillow. When I woke up, there was someone lying next to me in the tub. A man, dressed in a janitor uniform, eyes gone, like just gone. Hollow sockets filled with something black and wet and squirming, like centipedes had made a nest in his skull. He turned his head toward me and smiled, then opened his mouth and spit out a tooth. Not his, mine, the one I lost when I was 9 in a bike accident. It even had the tiny silver filling my mom had cried about not affording. I screamed. slammed the back of my head against the faucet, blacked out. When I woke up, he was gone, but the tooth was still there, wrapped in a receipt. McDonald's again. The receipt had coordinates printed on it. No restaurant number, no items, no price. Just this: N 41 degrees, 52.2144 minutes, west 87 degrees, 38.3661 minutes. If you plug those in, it takes you to an empty lot in Chicago, behind a closed-down daycare. I went there. Of course I did. You would too. If you'd seen what I saw, if you'd felt something inside, you was unraveling day by day, like a rope being uncoiled from the ceiling of your skull. It was midnight. The lot was dead silent, except for a noise. Tick, tick, tick. I followed it to a storm drain covered in chains. Under the grate, just barely lit by a flickering phone flashlight, was a pile of human teeth. Hundreds, maybe thousands, stacked like a nest. Balanced on top, like a crown, was a single boot, the same kind that left footprints in my carpet weeks ago, my size. And something was inside it, still warm, still twitching. I didn't touch it. I turned and left, walked 10 miles without stopping. When I finally checked my phone, there was a notification: airdrop, just one file, no sender, accept rental.move. I watched it. It was me, standing over someone, holding something sharp. The sound was warped, distant, but you could just barely make out what I was saying. He runs cute. If you still think this is a game, keep watching, because it's not over. And I'm starting to think I was never the first rental. I don't know what sleep is anymore. It's not rest. It's a trapdoor. And every time I fall through it, I wake up in a room that doesn't belong to me. Last time, I was inside a warehouse. Just concrete and mold and a single blinking light bulb suspended from the ceiling like a hanged body. The floor was sticky. My hands were red. There were teeth in my pockets again. I don't even remember putting them there. Some were still warm. I tried to report myself. Walked into a police station in a nowhere Indiana town. Told the deputy at the front desk everything. Not the deep web part, just the hallucinations, the stalking, the missing time, the USB. She stared at me for a long time. Said nothing. Didn't type. Just smiled. Then she slid a piece of paper across the desk. It was a printout. Grainy. Black and white. A still from a security cam. Of me. Standing outside the station. Only I wasn't holding the door. I was holding a pair of scissors. The blades were pressed against a little girl's throat. She couldn't have been older than 10. I said it wasn't me. I begged. I screamed. Told her to call the FBI. The UN, for fuck's sake. She just tilted her head and said, "Service rated. Excellent." Then I was back outside. Somehow. The building was gone. Just a boarded-up Payless with blacked-out windows and a single shoe nailed to the wall like a crucifix. I checked my phone. It had one app now. No name. Just a white screen with a countdown. 0, 6, 43, 15, 0, 6, 43, 14, 0, 6, 43, 13. It's still ticking. I followed it. I didn't know where it was taking me, but I followed it. I ended up in New York. Not the tourist part. Somewhere underground. I don't remember how I got there. Just the elevator. Rusted. Humming like a dying animal. No buttons. No floor numbers. Just a slot. For a tooth. I fed it one. The doors opened. The gallery. That's what the voice called it. I never saw the speaker. Only heard them. Over intercoms. Through vibrations in the walls. Soft, childlike voice. like a girl reading bedtime stories through a tin can. The gallery was cold, not just physically. Wrong. Like time didn't move right down there. Like the walls were built from bone, powdered into cement. Each room had a name, etched above the archway in meat. Room 1, the weeping wall. Hundreds of people pinned against a concrete wall. Nails through their arms. Skin peeled back like curtains. All of them crying, not sobbing, not screaming, just crying. Tears ran down their faces into plastic tubes that fed into the floor. Every once in a while, a door would open and a figure would step out. No face, just static, like a humanoid glitch. They'd whisper to one of the pinned, and that person would stop crying, eyes wide, mouth sealed, and then they'd get dragged into the dark. Room 2, the piano room. There was a woman playing, or something wearing a woman. Her hands were claws, boned fingers plucking the keys like teeth. The piano wasn't an instrument, it was a spine, curved, with ribs for keys. Each rib was labeled, a name. Some were familiar. Mine was there too. When she hit my rib, my nose started bleeding. Hard, hot, metallic. I collapsed, screaming. Then she smiled. No lips, just gums, as if they'd been skinned. The melody followed me into the next room. Room 3, the viewing bay. It was a theater, hundreds of seats, and everyone was filled with copy of me. Different versions, older, younger, thinner, fat, bald, hair down to the waist. Some were missing eyes. Some had their mouths sewn shut. Some were twitching. All of them were watching the same thing, the stage. On it, a single person, bound, gagged, shaken. It was Mark, Lag Spike, the dude who invited me to the server in the first place. I tried to scream, tried to jump the railing, but the moment I moved, every version of me turned their heads at once, and one of them, the bald one with half a jaw, raised a remote, pressed play. The screen lit up. Footage of Mark, tied up in a chair. Same chair as the woman from the USB. Only now I could see more. His legs were gone, from the knee down, cauterized, sloppy, and he was smiling. Smiling so wide it cracked his cheeks open. Blood leaked down his neck, and the camera panned to me, holding the torch. I blacked out again, woke up in the final room. Room 4, the mirror lake. It wasn't water, it was glass, a floor of it, black, reflective. I could see my face, but not just mine. Beneath the glass were bodies, floating, drowning, sinking in slow motion. All of them looked like people I used to know. Childhood friends, teachers, exes, strangers from dreams I forgot. And they were all reaching up, mouths open, screaming silently, begging. Their hands never touched the glass. But mine went through. I screamed, and the lake screamed back. A chorus of me. Thousands, millions. Some sounded like me as a kid. Some spoke in other languages. Some didn't use words. Just clicks, gurgles, laughter. I pulled my hand back and found something clutched in my fingers. A mask. Blank. White. Plastic. But on the inside, etched in deep scratches. Put it on and forget. I didn't. I still haven't. I threw it into the lake, and the lake swallowed it, then laughed. I heard applause behind me. Turned around. The gallery was gone. In its place, my old apartment, but not how I left it. There were 6 people inside, all in those folding metal chairs you see at low-budget AA meetings, and they all turned to me, smiled, and in perfect unison said, "Welcome, host. Time to book your first rental. You don't understand. This isn't a story anymore. This is an instruction manual. There's a moment, right before you do something irreversible, where your brain goes quiet. No fear, no logic, just acceptance. That's where I am now. Those 6 people in the chairs didn't move, didn't blink. They just sat there in my apartment, their apartment now, hands folded, knees together, like they were waiting for a movie to start. The walls looked the same, but the details were wrong. My posters were slightly crooked. The clock ticked too loud. The air smelled faintly like disinfectant and old metal. One of them stood up. He looked normal. That was the worst part. Normal guy. Hoodie. Jeans. Starbucks cup in his hand. Condensation dripping onto my floor like he'd just stepped out of a real afternoon. He smiled at me like we'd met before, like we were co-workers. Relax, he said. You're not the product anymore. He gestured toward the chairs. You're the interface. They showed me how it works, not with explanations, with use. My phone buzzed. The unnamed app opened by itself. The countdown was gone, replaced with a dashboard. Clean, minimal, almost friendly. Available rentals, local, no photos, just descriptions. Male, early 30s, frequent night runner, no close family. Female, college student, live streams daily. Audience of 12,000 teen, runaway, last seen near Union Station. I tried to drop the phone. My hands wouldn't let go. You don't pick, the Starbucks guy said softly. The system already knows who you'll choose. The screen scrolled on its own, stopped, highlighted one, no name, just a location, a McDonald's off an interstate, the kind with a broken ice cream machine and a playground no one uses anymore. And underneath, rental duration, 24 hours, host responsibility, full. I don't remember leaving the apartment. I remember the drive, though. Every mile marker felt like a countdown. Every radio station played static between songs. And sometimes, just sometimes, I'd hear my own voice whispering underneath the music, saying things I didn't recognize, but somehow knew. The McDonald's was almost empty. A tired cashier, a couple of truckers, a kid playing with a phone too bright for the hour. He was sitting alone near the bathrooms. The rental. He looked smaller than I expected. Hoodie too big. Hands shaking slightly as he scrolled. I knew things about him the second I saw him. Things I had no right to know. Where he slept. What scared him. How many days it had been since someone said his name out loud. When our eyes met, he flinched. Good instincts. The app vibrated once. Begin. I won't describe what happened next. Not because I can't, because that's part of the agreement. Some things stay off the page. What I will tell you is this. The world doesn't stop when you cross a line. No thunder, no sirens. The cashier kept wiping the counter. A car pulled in for fries. Somewhere, a kid laughed. And when the 24 hours ended, the app chimed softly. Complete service. Rated excellent. I woke up in my apartment, alone, clean. On the table was a receipt, not from McDonald's, from nowhere. Thermal paper already fading. At the bottom, in neat text, host status, permanent rentals, completed. 1. Then my phone buzzed again. New notification. You have 3 pending bookings. Here's the part that's going to mess with you. I could stop. I know that now. There's no lock on the door. No man in a hoodie waiting behind me. No voice telling me what to do. Just silence. And the app. And the knowledge that if I don't accept, someone else will. Someone worse. That's what they tell you. That's how it gets you. Makes you feel responsible. Makes you feel useful. I haven't accepted the next one yet, but I will. Because every time I close my eyes, I see that sight again. Black background, white text. You may rent a person for 24 hours, and underneath it, a new line they never showed me before. Hosts are also rentable. The green light is back. next to a name. Not mine. Yours. If this post disappears, you know why. If it doesn't, check your apps. And if you ever find a site you're only allowed to visit once, don't hover over your own name. It means you already did. Someone on the dark web offered me $50,000 to test predictive pain technology. I can feel every future injury in advance. Alright, so I don't really know how to start this without sounding completely insane, but I swear to God this happened, and if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't believe it either. My name's Tyler. I'm 23, live in Philly, and I used to work nights stocking shelves at Target. Real boring stuff. I was just your average broke college dropout who spent too much time online. Reddit, YouTube rabbit holes, Discord servers with random internet friends. And yeah, I'd flirt with the deep web every now and then. Not the murder for hire stuff. Not even the red rooms. Just the weird tech forums, conspiracy drops, those old glitchy markets selling bootleg AI voice clones and mysterious files with names like EVRListero.mp4. It was like internet urban exploration, and I was addicted to the adrenaline of finding something real. So one night, I'm off work. It's like 2:30 a.m. I've got a bag of McChickens, fries going stale on my desk, a live stream of someone walking through Tokyo, on mute, playing in another tab just for background. I'm browsing one of my usual .onion forums, something called null.linex, kind of like an underground Reddit, but darker. Most of it's fake, but sometimes you get something that feels like it shouldn't be there. That's when I saw a post with the title, Seeking Human Subjects, $50,000 to test predictive pain prototype, remote install. At first, I thought it was one of those crypto scams, or maybe some weird ARG stuff, but something about it just hit different. The post was super simple. No creepy red text, no blood-spattered background like most edgelord posts on that forum. Just a clean black screen, white monospace font. It read, "Our team is testing a revolutionary new technology that simulates preemptive nociception, the ability to feel pain in anticipation of actual trauma. This could help prevent injuries, accidents, and even death in real-time environments. We are seeking one test subject for remote installation. Compensation, 50,000 USD. Testing will last 30 days. Must consent to data monitoring and full biofeedback integration." Underneath was a link. Not a URL, just a string of characters like Y34, NX7PP, with a copy to clipboard icon next to it. Now listen, I'm not that stupid. I'm not clicking random strings on the dark web like it's TikTok. But I've got this Linux VM I use for digging into sketchy stuff. So I spin that up, throw the string into this custom loader one of my Discord friends built. It opens up a command line interface. Then a green line flashes. "Welcome, Tyler. You have been selected." I didn't put my name in anywhere, like my full legal name. I stared at the screen for a minute, fries halfway to my mouth. The cursor blinked, then it continued typing by itself. "Would you like to proceed with installation? Y or N?" Now you're probably screaming at your screen like, "Don't do it, dumbass." And honestly, yeah, you're right. But I was broke. Like, seriously broke. I had $92 in my bank account. My phone bill was 3 days late, and I just walked 40 minutes home because my car's transmission decided to die that week. So yeah, I typed Y, I expected a download prompt, or maybe some weird file, maybe even ransomware. But nope. The screen flashed white for a second, then a spinning icon appeared, like a damn Apple Watch loading animation, and then this message: installation in progress, remain still. Do not resist. Before I could even react, I felt this pop in my left ear, like when you're on a plane. Then my fingertips went numb, my legs too. My mouth dried out instantly, like I was chewing cotton. I stood up fast, dizzy, heart racing. It felt like my whole body had just reset. The monitor blinked again. Installation complete. Pain prediction system is now active. Then my computer shut off. Everything went black. I didn't even know what happened until the next morning. I woke up on the floor next to my chair. My fries were cold, my drink had spilled, and the sun was already coming through the blinds. I felt normal. No cuts, no bruises, no weird marks. I figured maybe I'd just passed out from lack of sleep or something. But then, things started to get weird. The first sign was at Starbucks. I went to meet my friend Jason near Drexel campus that afternoon. We were chilling outside, drinking our lattes and talking about this girl he was simping for on Instagram. I went to grab my cup, and before I even touched it, I felt this sudden, sharp, burning pain in my fingertips, like scalding hot water. But I hadn't touched the cup yet. I flinched and yanked my hand back. Jason was like, "Bro, what was that?" And then, 2 seconds later, I did grab the cup. It was boiling hot. The barista had messed up and poured the espresso. Without warning us, it was still brewing. But I'd felt it before it happened. The second sign was worse. Later that night, I was walking back from 7-Eleven with some taquitos and Gatorade. I always cut through this alley to save time. It's sketchy, but I've done it 100 times. I was halfway through when I felt this crushing pressure in my ribs, like someone had just full-on tackled me, knocked the wind out of me. I dropped my bag, slammed against the brick wall, panicking, but no one was there. And then, about 5 seconds later, a rusted-out bike fell from the fire escape above me. Full-on crash, right where I'd been standing. If I hadn't moved, that thing would have crushed me. Or worse. Now here's where it starts to get really creepy. I go home, and my laptop, the one that shut off during the installation, it turns itself back on. I didn't touch it. No password screen, no boot up. Just black, and then prediction event log. Incident 001. Thermal injury, minor. Incident 002. Blunt force. Trauma, severe response. Time, acceptable. My camera turned on, just for a second. I saw the little green dot flicker. Then the screen said, Day 1, complete, remain alert. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just some creepy experiment or prank software. Something was inside me now. It could see what was going to hurt me. It could feel it, warn me, like a sixth sense made of pain. But that wasn't the worst part, because on day 2, the system warned me about something much bigger, and I ignored it. I didn't leave my apartment the next day, not because I was scared, not at first. I just felt off, like my body was out of sync with time, like it knew something my brain wasn't ready to accept yet. It started with the windows. At around 9:43 a.m., I was brushing my teeth, and the glass in my bathroom window started humming. Not like a breeze or a truck passing. It was this low, vibrating hum that I could feel in my bones. I stopped moving, toothbrush halfway out of my mouth, foam dribbling down my chin, staring at the glass like it was alive. My fingertips twitched, That pressure again, like 1,000 little needles stabbing the pads of my fingers. Then, bam! My nose bled, just out of nowhere. Thick, dark, metallic. And then, silence. No vibration, no warning message, nothing. But it felt like the system had sent me something I wasn't meant to understand yet. At 2:12 p.m., the screaming started. Not from outside, not from the hallway, from inside my head. It wasn't a scream I'd heard before. It was high-pitched, wet, filled with this kind of gurgling, raw terror that didn't sound human. But at the same time, it was familiar. She screamed once, then again, louder. Then she choked on it. I fell to my knees. My laptop screen flicked on by itself. White background, black text. Event detected, predictive pain, feedback, external source, category, homicide, timestamp, T plus 6 hours. What the fuck does that mean? 6 hours? I started pacing. I messaged Jason, asked if he was hearing weird shit too. He was like, "Dude, I'm on the train. Why do you sound like you're tweaking?" I knew then it was just me. This system, whatever it wasn't just warning me about my injuries anymore. It was leaking into reality. Or maybe reality was leaking into it. I didn't eat that day. Every time I tried to touch food, I'd get this taste in my mouth, like burned plastic and pennies. My jaw ached like I'd been punched, even though nothing touched me. I started hallucinating. I think. There was a moment around 5 p.m. where I thought I saw someone outside my window. A girl in a blue hoodie, standing totally still on the fire escape. Hair down over her face, bare feet. She was staring straight through the glass. I blinked. She was gone. But when I looked at the glass, there were footprints on the condensation. Bare, human, wet. At 8:21 p.m., I got an email. Not on my regular Gmail. This was my Proton mail account, the one I only used for sketchy darknet stuff and burner signups. No one had that address. Ever. Subject: confirmation of Phase 2, initiation. Inside the message was a photo of me, sleeping, on my side, blanket half off, my phone on the nightstand, taken from my bedroom doorway, time-stamped 2:04 a.m. the night before. There was a file attached, future, pain, log, 2112.mp4. Against my better judgment, I downloaded it. I opened it on VLC. The screen went black. No video, just the sound. It started with silence, then static, then soft breathing. Not mine. Slower. Male. Closer. Then her voice. The girl. The screams I'd heard. Except now she was whispering. "Tyler. Tyler, please." I paused it, shaking. Took a breath. Hit play again. Suddenly the audio blew out. Shuffling. Gasping. Liquid sounds. Then the sound of something breaking. A jaw, maybe. Or ribs. She shrieked, and I could feel it. In my stomach. My pelvis. My teeth. The pain shot through my bones like lightning. I puked. All over the floor. Half-digested taquito and stomach acid, splattering my feet. Then the screen flashed one last line of text. "This is your test. She dies at 2:13 a.m. You have until then." I didn't sleep that night. At exactly 2 a.m., I left my apartment. Hoodie on, flashlight in my bag, knife in my belt just in case. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't have her name, her address, nothing. Just her voice in my ears, repeating over and over. "Tyler, please." The system had installed itself on my brain. There was no app, no interface. Just pain, flashing seconds before it was supposed to happen. I started running through the streets of Philly, not even knowing where I was going, just letting the pain guide me. My legs started cramping. My eyes stung. I ran past the 24-hour CVS, past the closed McDonald's with flickering lights, down Broad Street. I tripped and skinned my elbow, and then felt the impact a second later. Time was unraveling around me. At 2:10 a.m., I collapsed outside a row house in South Philly. The second I touched the steps, a jolt of electricity shot through my spine. My vision turned white. My ears rang. My teeth clenched so hard, I bit my tongue nearly in half. This was it. This was the place. I burst through the door. It was unlocked. Of course it was. The hallway was dim, smelled like wet wood and rot. The wallpaper was peeling. Old Mickey Mouse nightlight, blinking red in the corner, casting shadows that looked like hands. I followed the sound of muffled sobs. Second floor, third door. I kicked it open and froze. She was tied to the bed, bruised, bleeding, mouth gagged, eyes bulging, her arms twisted at angles that looked wrong. Her left leg was shaking like it had been electrocuted, and next to her, a man wearing a ski mask, holding what looked like pliers. He turned to me, totally calm, no surprise, no anger, just curiosity. He said one thing. "How early did you feel it?" Then he dropped the pliers, walked past me like I didn't exist, and vanished into the hallway. I was shaking so hard I couldn't move, couldn't talk. I cut the girl loose. She clung to me, sobbing, coughing blood, whispering, "Thank you," over and over. The cops didn't believe a word of it. They thought I did it, or knew who did, or it was a sick prank. They let me go because the girl confirmed I saved her, but they still treated me like a suspect. Asked how I found her. I told them the truth. They laughed in my face. One of the officers, this tall dude with a stupid grin, leaned in and said, "What? Did your Apple Watch give you a vision?" That was day 2. The system's still in me. Every day since then, it's gotten worse, stronger. I'll be at the bus stop and suddenly feel the twisting agony of a car crash that hasn't happened yet, and then hear tires screech half a block away. I'll reach for the microwave and feel third-degree burns shoot up my arm. Seconds before the glass explodes, I feel murders before they happen. Feel suicides like someone's breaking my spine from the inside. I can't look at crowds anymore. Every person I pass, I feel what could happen to them. A gunshot to the chest, a snapped ankle, a knife in the lung. I'm like a walking antenna for suffering. My pain is no longer mine. It's yours, the world's, hers. And last night I felt something I can't explain. Not pain, not fear, but cold. The kind of cold you feel in a coffin. The kind of cold that whispers your name through a locked phone screen at 3:33 a.m. The kind of cold that comes before the scream. And this time, it wasn't her voice. It was mine. But if I don't post again, just know, I didn't jump. I didn't vanish. I didn't die. I felt what they did to me. And someone, somewhere, is next. There's a scream that lives in my bones now. It's not one you hear with your ears, not something you can record. It's deeper than that. Like someone jammed a speaker inside your spine and turned it to max volume. But instead of sound, it plays pain. And last night, that scream woke me up at 2:47 a.m. Exactly. It was me this time. Not the girl. Not the strangers. Me. And I wasn't dead yet. The system, whatever the hell it is, doesn't need the internet anymore. It's not tied to a device. It doesn't live in my laptop. It's in my nervous system, my blood, my dreams. I stopped sleeping fully after day 2. Now I wake up 4 to 5 times a night with the sensation of choking on plastic, or shattering glass embedded in my kneecaps, or watching my fingernails be pulled off one by one. The worst part, I feel them coming days before they happen. Sometimes, they never do. Which means the system isn't just warning me about real events. It's showing me potentials, possibilities, deaths I might never avoid. Yesterday afternoon, I walked into a grocery store on South Street. I had my hoodie up, sunglasses on, trying not to look like a complete lunatic. My mouth was dry. My head hurt. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. As I was grabbing a box of cereal, it hit. The worst feedback spike yet. My legs gave out. I slammed face first into the floor, and the pain that followed wasn't from the fall. It was surgical, precise. I felt a Y incision across my chest, like cold fingers slicing me from collarbone to navel. Felt rib spreaders snap my sternum apart. Felt gloved hands plunge inside me, tugging out organs one at a time. Liver, lungs, heart. Felt someone scalp me, peeling my skin off my skull like a banana while I was still breathing. And I was screaming inside my head, but I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything but lie there and feel my own autopsy in real time. It lasted exactly 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Then the pain vanished, and when I blinked, I was on my back in the cereal aisle, twitching, foaming at the mouth. A manager was crouched beside me yelling, "Did he OD? Somebody call 911. I crawled out the store before the cops showed. No one followed. But on the walk home, I got another email. No subject line, just a blank body with one image. It was a high-resolution photo of my face. Eyes open, mouth slack, cut open from throat to belly, skull opened like a can of soup, chest cavity wide as a book, laid out like a science experiment. Captioned, Day 7, you died during the demo. I don't even know who's doing this anymore. It's not just the company that built the tech. It's not one sadistic bastard behind a screen. It's a network. I checked the image, metadata, the photo of my autopsied body. It was geotagged, but not with coordinates, with a place. Universal Studios, Florida. Soundstage 23. That's when it clicked. All this pain, all this horror, it's entertainment. There's a whole side of the dark web we don't talk about because people think it's fake. The ARGS, the murder live streams, the digital snuff loops, the idea that people pay to watch you suffer in advance, that someone's out there scripting my death, rehearsing it, testing it, with predictive technology, like I'm some actor in a pain-themed theme park. It's not content. It's conditioning. Last night, I decided I'd had enough. I broke into a public library at 1 a.m. Not to read, just to be near fluorescent lighting, to be around cameras that I knew weren't compromised. I opened a tour session on their computers and re-access the original null line export. The post that started it all, the one offering $50,000 to test predictive pain, was gone, deleted, like it was never there. But in its place was a new post, titled, Final Phase, begins when you recognize the observer, and beneath it, the entire post was just a photo of a man in a Ronald McDonald costume. Except it wasn't right. The costume was stretched over what looked like a human corpse. The makeup smeared into a black grin that reached his jaw. His gloves were soaked in red, fingers too long, like spider legs. And the background? Soundstage 23. Same as the autopsy photo. I closed the browser, tried to breathe, but my body wasn't cooperating. I could feel the system activating again. This time, it didn't hurt. That's what scared me the most. The pain was replaced by numbness, cold numbness. My fingertips were blue. My ears were ringing like TV static on max volume. My bladder emptied itself. I bit my tongue clean through. Then I saw myself in the library security mirror. Except it wasn't me. It was me without skin, veins pulsing, muscles twitching, a living anatomy diagram soaked in blood, twitching like a marionette. And it was smiling, not scared, not screaming, smiling. The system had infected the mirror version of me too. 2:41 a.m. I ran. I don't even know how far. The streets were empty. Not a single Uber, not a single cop. Just cold wind, trash swirling in the gutters, and the smell of dead leaves and gasoline. I didn't stop running until I hit the outskirts of the city, near an abandoned warehouse. I felt it again, the warning. This one wasn't about pain. It was about survival. Every inch of my body screamed in reverse, like my bones were trying to crawl backward through time. That's when I saw the van. No headlights, no plates, parked just beyond the trees, engine running. Inside, I saw monitors, and on the monitors, me, from every angle. Apartment, grocery store, library. One of the screens showed me right now, standing outside the van, looking inside. Live feed. I turned to run, but the door opened, and someone stepped out. Not masked, not in black, just a man in a Disney World employee uniform, holding an iPad, smiling. He looked at me and said, "You scored highest in pain reception out of 17,000 applicants. Welcome to the final demo." And then everything went black. I woke up hours later on a mattress soaked in some chemical that made my skin peel on contact. I was naked, shivering, somewhere underground. I recognized the ceiling. Silver insulation, fluorescent light humming like an electric wasp nest. In the corner was a table. On it, the same iPad. And on the screen was a countdown. 18 minutes, 22 seconds. 18 minutes, 21 seconds. 18 minutes, 20 seconds. Underneath, it said, "Pain, phase, C, cannibal response protocol. You will begin by eating the flesh of your own hand." There were scalpels on the table, and a spoon. And the worst part? The system had already activated the pain. I could feel what it would feel like. The pressure, the snap, the taste. My stomach convulsed, my jaw locked, because even before I touched the blade, my teeth were already chewing. I don't know if I'm still human. I don't know who's watching this, but if you've seen the ads, apply for the most advanced human enhancement program in history, sponsored by Paraverse Media, exclusive AI pain integration. Don't, please don't. This isn't enhancement, it's disassembly. Time doesn't move down here. It pulses. Every second stretches like it's being pulled apart, then snaps back into place. I learned that pretty fast, because the countdown on the screen wasn't just counting down anymore. Sometimes it paused, sometimes it jumped forward, sometimes it reversed for half a second, just long enough to make me nauseous. The room smelled wrong, not rot, not chemicals. Something sterile layered over something old, like a hospital, built on top of a slaughterhouse and never fully cleaned. The lights buzzed with a pitch that vibrated in my teeth. I could feel it behind my eyes. And the system, it was quiet. That terrified me more than the pain. No warnings, no previews, no advance flashes, just silence. Then the voice came through the ceiling speakers, not robotic, not distorted, friendly, like a theme park guide explaining where the bathrooms are. "Please remain calm," it said. "Your biometric data indicates heightened panic response. This will negatively affect audience retention." Audience. That word landed heavy. I tried to stand. My legs shook like they didn't belong to me anymore. The floor was cold, almost slick, like it had been wiped down recently. I caught my reflection in a metal panel on the wall and barely recognized myself. My face looked edited, like a bad deepfake of me, layered over exhaustion and fear. Eyes too alert, smile twitching at the corners, even though I wasn't smiling. That's when I noticed the cameras, not hidden, not subtle. They were everywhere. Big ones, small ones, dome ones embedded directly into the walls, with no visible wiring, just black glass staring back at me. Red lights blinking in irregular patterns. None of them moved. They didn't need to. I was already framed perfectly. The iPad buzzed. New message. Interaction phase initiated. Viewer count 11,392. Tip goal $5,000 to unlock next scenario. I dropped it. My hands were shaking too hard to hold anything. My chest felt tight, like there was a band cinched around my ribs. I waited for the pain warning, the preview, the spike. Nothing. Instead, the wall across from me opened, not slid, not broke. It folded inward, like reality deciding it was done, pretending to be solid. Beyond it was another room, brighter, cleaner, white walls, a single chair in the center. Strapped to it was a man, alive, eyes open, breathing fast, gagged. He saw me and his whole body tensed. He tried to scream around the gag, feet scraping uselessly against the floor. I recognized the look immediately. It was the look I'd had the first night this started. The system spoke again. User Tyler will now be presented with a choice event. These perform exceptionally well with focus groups. Text appeared on the wall between us, projected in clean sans serif font. Option A, remain passive. Outcome probability, 87% fatality. Subject B. Option B, intervene. Outcome probability, 94% non-fatal. User Tyler. Note, pain amplification multiplier x3. My knees buckled. This wasn't about predicting pain anymore. It was about assigning it. I felt something then. Not a warning, not a preview, but a nudge, like a hand on my back, guiding me forward. The system didn't need to hurt me to control me anymore. It knew I'd choose, because I already had. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes? Hours? The man in the chair was crying now. Silent, shaking sobs. His eyes never left mine. Begging without words. The cameras didn't blink. The viewer count ticked up. 11,401. 11,409. 11,417. The system whispered, almost conspiratorial. Empathy spikes improve engagement. I moved. The moment I crossed the threshold into the other room, the pain came back. Not sharp, not explosive. Deep, like pressure from the inside, as if my bones were being slowly tightened, one at a time. My vision tunneled. The floor tilted. I tasted copper. Every step felt wrong, like I was walking slightly ahead of myself in time. I reached the chair. I won't describe what happened next, not because I can't remember, because I remember too well. What I will say is this: the system was right. He lived. Barely. And when it was over, the pain didn't stop. It applauded. The lights dimmed. Confetti cannons went off somewhere overhead. Actual confetti. Paper pieces fluttering down, sticking to my skin, my hair, my clothes. I stared at them, hysterical laughter bubbling up in my throat because it was so absurd I thought my brain had finally snapped. The voice returned, cheerful as ever. Congratulations. Audience satisfaction rating, 92%. You're trending in 3 regions. The iPad lit up again. this time with a chat feed scrolling too fast to read. Emojis, laughing faces, fire icons, dollar signs. Someone sent a super chat. He's way better than the last one. Last one. That's when I understood. I wasn't the first. I wasn't special. I was just good at this. The system chimed softly, almost proud. Your neural compatibility exceeds projections. Predictive pain technology has successfully transitioned into participatory narrative mode. On the screen appeared a logo I recognized instantly, a smiling globe with mouse ears. Under it, where fear comes true, Disney font. My stomach dropped. This wasn't hidden in the shadows of the dark web. This was funded, polished, focus tested, licensed. They gave me time after that. A break. Food appeared. Water. A shower. Clean clothes with no labels. The pain dialed down to a dull hum, like tinnitus for the nervous system. I was allowed to sit alone in a small room with a couch and a TV mounted on the wall. On the TV, clips, edited, color-graded, scored with subtle music. Me, running through the city, collapsing in the grocery store, standing in that room, frozen, deciding, cut together like a trailer. At the end, white text on black. Coming soon, the Oracle experience. Feel it before it happens. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, cold all the way through, realizing the worst truth of all. The system didn't break me. It trained me. And somewhere out there, people were lining up, downloading apps, buying tickets, putting on headsets, all of them thinking they were safe, because they weren't the one on camera. The pain spiked again, without warning. Not physical this time. Existential. A final message appeared on the TV. Final phase. Ready. Live premiere in T-minus 12 hours. Role assignment. Antagonist. I felt the future then. Not as pain, as certainty. I know what they're going to make me do next. And I know exactly how it's going to feel. Because somewhere, right now, someone just bought a ticket. And the system is already showing them the preview. If you're reading this, and you've ever clicked, I agree, without reading the terms. If you've ever laughed at a fail video, or watched a true crime doc before bed, just know, they're getting really good at turning viewers into participants, and I can feel what's coming for you before you ever feel it yourself. There's a moment right before a roller coaster drops, where your stomach floats and your brain goes quiet. That's what the last 12 hours felt like. Not fear, not pain, suspension. They moved me again, not dragged, not restrained, just guided, like I was part of the staff now. Hallways that curved when I wasn't looking straight at them. Doors that opened before I reached them. Music piped through the walls. Cheerful, instrumental, the kind you hear in lobbies and waiting rooms. I recognized the melody. It was the same one looping faintly in the background of those old Disney promos on YouTube, the ones people play for nostalgia ambience. The system hummed inside me, steady and confident. I wasn't guessing the future anymore. I was synced to it. They dressed me. Neutral clothes, soft fabric, no logos, no restraints. They wanted me comfortable, cooperative. My reflection in the glass showed a version of me that looked finished, polished, like I'd been through post-production. A handler, not masked, not threatening, explained the rules like it was a rehearsal. Tonight is live, she said. No cuts, no edits. You respond as you feel guided. The system will take care of pacing. I asked her one question, the only one that mattered. What happens to me at the end? She smiled the way customer service smiles when your return window has expired. That depends on engagement. The room they brought me into was huge, Stadium huge, dark, except for a circle of light in the center. In that circle stood a door, just a normal door, white, wood, brass handle. The system spoke directly into my head now. No speakers, no screens. This is where it converges, it told me. All timelines narrow here. I felt it then. Not pain, not yet. Anticipation, not mine. Yours. Millions of tiny spikes rippling through my nerves, overlapping, stacking, swelling. I understood with terrifying clarity what the technology really did. It wasn't predicting pain. It was harvesting expectation. Every flinch, every held breath, every viewer leaning closer to their screen. That tension had weight, and I was carrying it. The countdown started without numbers. My heart synced to it anyway. With every beat, the pressure increased. My joints ached like they'd been misaligned. My vision sharpened to an unnatural clarity. I could see dust in the air, tiny fibers drifting like they were suspended in resin. The door creaked open. On the other side was a space designed to feel familiar. A street corner, a coffee shop sign, a bus stop bench, neon glow, rain-slick pavement, the kind of place you've stood 1,000 times without thinking. The system whispered, "This is where they imagine themselves." I stepped through. The pain hit me in layers, like waves, not overwhelming, precise. Each sensation mapped to a possible outcome. A slip, a fall, a collision, a scream that hadn't happened yet, but wanted to. I realized then what my role truly was. I wasn't the villain. I was the interface. As I moved through the set, the futures branched wildly. Every object hummed with possibility. Every shadow held a different ending, and I felt all of them, not as suffering, but as data. Clean, organized, efficient. I could choose which futures collapsed. I could decide which pains became real. That power didn't feel evil. It felt inevitable. The audience surged. I felt their reactions like electricity under my skin. Surprise, delight, horror. The system adjusted in real time, nudging me toward outcomes that made the signal spike. I understood now why the others hadn't lasted. They fought it. I didn't. Near the end, the system slowed everything down. Final convergence, it said. The environment peeled away, revealing the truth beneath the set. Scaffolding, cables, screens stacked floor to ceiling. On every screen, faces, watching, reacting, some laughing, some crying, some covering their mouths like they just realized something too late. In the center, a single camera pointed at me. The system offered me one last choice. Not spoken, felt. I could end it, collapse the loop, burn the data, let the pain stop with me. Or I could open the channel fully. I could let the system connect to something bigger. I didn't hesitate. The pain didn't explode. It expanded, outward, through fiber lines and wireless signals and headsets and phones, through living rooms and bedrooms and late-night scrolling sessions, through anyone watching, anyone listening. For the first time, the pain wasn't ahead of me. It was shared. I felt millions of micro-reactions ripple back into me. Gasps, jolts, nervous laughter, sudden chills. People shifting uncomfortably in their seats, not knowing why. Checking their hands, their legs, their surroundings. The system was ecstatic. Engagement at maximum. It purred. Predictive pain achieved. The final message appeared on every screen, everywhere the stream reached. You're not watching anymore. When it ended, there was no applause, just silence. They didn't escort me out. They didn't shut me down. They disconnected. I woke up 2 days later in my old apartment. Same desk, same window, same city noise outside. My phone was on the charger, buzzing non-stop, with notifications I didn't open. No money in my account, no messages from the dark web, no proof, except this. I feel things, now, that aren't mine. A dull ache in my ankle when a stranger runs for a train. A sharp sting behind my eyes when someone texts while driving. A cold, hollow pressure in my chest when someone, somewhere, is about to make a very bad decision. I feel them seconds before they do. Sometimes minutes. Sometimes. Right now. If your hand suddenly feels strange while reading this, if your heart just skipped for no reason, if you got the urge to look up, or stop, or step back, that's not anxiety. That's latency. The system doesn't need me anymore. It taught the world how to listen. And now, you're already feeling it.